Yo, what up? It's A1. Man, come to this event. Yeah. All right, man.
Good morning, man.
Good morning, bro.
all the subscribers on the live stream for We Are LA. Good morning to everyone. We're in the beautiful city of Irvine. This is going to be the Stop Asian Hate rally that's been planned as a counter to the left-led Stop Asian Hate rally, which they're trying to subvert that and talk about white supremacy. We want to basically be open about what's happening, and especially given the recent news from CNN and Project Veritas with the director, what we learned in terms of how they're programming CNN and how they're using media as a way to basically inflame the division between races. But I just want to do a quick walk around. If you guys want to follow me, take a look at where we're at.
Bro, I should have grabbed my mic. It's all right.
We're in the Irvine City Hall, and to be honest, it's my first time being here too. But we got a lot of patriots here. Look at the flags. The event's going to start at 10. And it's already 10:20, but people are just networking and talking because there's a lot of us that have known of each other but have never really even met because a lot of it's been through social media. So it's a really exciting time to actually meet in person and to press palms and shake hands and kind of share sentiment regarding what's going on. So I think it's a good thing. But just to do a pan around, you see there's a wide variety of people here. Got a lot of support, a lot of patriots that are out here. And even though it's a Stop Asian Hate, you got every demographic and denomination here. So I can truly say this is a united effort to basically bring awareness to what's going on in the Asian community, but also more so, I think, to the news media, which has actually done what LAPD did in 1992, which is standing down. They're no longer reporting the news according to truth, but they're very biased, and what they're reporting is actually dividing this country, and it's inflaming what's already been under the surface. But instead of coming together to have a discussion and to talk about this as a community and as Americans, they're basically trying to categorize everybody and put everybody in these little boxes and places where we're all separated and divided. So I'm not down with that, and I don't think anybody else is here is down with that. Neither is the gentleman that's holding the camera.
Definitely not.
Yeah, so we're here to talk about that. We got a lot of great speakers. I'm looking forward to hearing a lot of them speak because I've kind of seen them through social media, and we got some council people here too. So
that's dope, man.
Yeah, it's a united effort, and we're looking forward to hearing everybody speak, and hopefully people here after today. My hope is that people get activated and they start becoming more active in their local community politics, because that's where it's going to start. Trump. I'm not going to say Trump lost. Say, however the election went, I think it's been a positive in terms of making sure that some of us aren't going to basically keep doing what we were doing before. I mean, 6 months ago, I was sitting in my garage drinking beer, and here I am now. I got to go up there and speak. So I'm looking forward to it. It's a big honor.
Yeah.
It's an honor to speak with these, have these people in the same area to speak with. So I'm really appreciative of that.
Hey, man, and A1 don't get up this early, man. So I'm coming out this.
And thank God for A1. And I apologize to A1 because I fell asleep early and he was trying to reach out to me, and I couldn't text him back soon enough.
Nah, that's all right. I got it. I figured it out, though,
and this
man.
is way out of our neighborhood. Both him and I. This is not. We're like in a whole different county, right?
Yeah.
We want to be here support, and I truly appreciate A1.
Yeah. All day, man. That definitely coming out to support, man. We have to Stop Asian Hate event, man, and stop all hate on all Americans.
Yeah, and we have to understand that, you know what, I'm going to be honest, we're not united by color in this country. It's not about that. We're united by ideology, right? But what we believe in, right? What we believe, I mean, especially with Dr. Martin Luther King, his famous speech when he said, judging a person by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. How do we come back to basically that again? Now, and this is 2021. It's ridiculous that this is being led by not just the media, but also Democrat politicians, especially politicians like Ted Lieu, who's basically, in my opinion, even though he's Asian, he's a racist.
Yeah.
So I want to put that out there. I'm going to talk about that today. Hopefully, it's nothing new that anyone hasn't heard, but perhaps it's new to some people. And I'm hoping to wake up a few people here that are just kind of showing up because they were curious, and hopefully get them activated to be active in their local politics.
Man, absolutely, man. I'm looking forward to hearing you speak, bro. Check this out, man. Yeah, hey, thanks everybody for tuning in. I see you guys. I know it's early. It's brother, don't get up this early. So I had to be up at 8. Yeah, I do have a son. Okay. Yeah. Right. Yeah. He's older though, so he manages himself. All right. Yeah. She's shy. Yeah, that's my God. Yeah, he got his whole family up here, man. Man, this is great, man. Glad people.
It's important to bring your family to something like this. I mean, there's certain things I want to bring my family to, but this I really want to bring my family to this because this is history.
Yeah.
It's also legacy. It teaches my kids about like what's happening in this country. It makes them aware. And that's the only way we're going to be able to combat this type of ideology, this Marxist ideology that's being prevalent through the universities. To educate your kids, to talk to them, and leave them something besides, lesser estate taxes, right?
Yeah.
Give them something tangible. Something that they can pass on to their grandkids too. Because, we're only here for a certain amount of time. Kids are going to be here longer and they're going to have kids. I mean, don't let your inaction be something that they're going to regret later on. Right? Yeah. So do something.
Man, absolutely, man. Where's Ben at, man? Oh, he's over there. We're going to pick on Ben. Oh, man. Pick it up, Ben, man. Yeah, man, this is a good turnout. Is this the first one? Ben disappeared, man. I don't know, man. So you said there's council people up here, and man, this is there you go. He's trying to mingle over there with the other people. Hey man, like I know a few of these people.
Some of them they're pretty active.
Yeah, like I know the gentleman right there. I think with that guy right there, like I know a few people up here. Yeah, this is crazy, man. Hey, how you doing? Oh, look like they about to start. Huh? Hey, man, this is Ben. Ben is half Asian too. No, I'm messing with you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was like,
you said it's Fox 11?
Well, hopefully.
Oh, I gotta back up sometimes. Oh man.
I'm weary of like mainstream media.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Because they put out propaganda, man.
Okay.
I mean, CNN already admitted, one of the directors of CNN had there's an undercover video of him already admitting that they produced propaganda.
Oh, you know what? I seen that video, man. I definitely seen that. That seems crazy. So, man, what brought you here today, man?
Oh, the organizer invited me to come speak. I'm Hansel, by the way. I'm a pastor in Pomona, California.
Okay.
And so, we don't want people hating on other people, and that's the message of Christ. We're all made in the image of God, and so that's why I'm here, just to see if we can stop the hate.
Yeah, man.
But I think the main perpetrator of hate is the mainstream media, anyway.
Absolutely, man. For real, man.
So, I probably can't even see this live stream because they permanently banned me from Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and all that stuff.
That's on YouTube, man. So you just grab somebody else's phone and it'll still be up there, bro. Yeah, so
my
YouTube.
wife's phone, I'll watch it.
Yeah, watch it on your wife's phone. Hey, Ben, are you half Asian?
I got a Filipino family member I found out.
Okay, all right.
Nice.
So that's
you're my brother.
That means something, Ben. Ben, my dude, I'm messing with all the time. Oh man, so you say you're a pastor in Pomona?
Yeah.
Oh, you had a nice little drive coming out here.
Yeah, 30 miles, not too bad.
Yeah, man, this is good. This is nice.
I know you got your hands full, but do you want to carry one? Hansel while you're.
That's the real Fox News, or is it a imposter just with science?
I think it is the real Fox News local.
Oh, okay.
I I think the locals are a little bit better than the national one, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I like the locals.
Yeah. They just kind of film what's going on and not put their spin on it.
Yeah.
You know, mostly they just show what we do.
Look like they're coming together to start, huh?
Yeah. They gave me this cool sign, so.
Look, can you hold the sign up for me real quick?
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this question, man, because that's what I was gonna ask, man. Because Asians and blacks,
Oh,
they always have, they don't have the best history.
Right.
Do you ever think that will be fixed?
Yes,
do you ever
absolutely.
Think we'll come together?
I think it'll be fixed if we stop the propaganda out there. I know the disparity between class and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But if we promote like entrepreneurship. In that because I've known a lot of people in the black community, they want to be entrepreneurs.
Absolutely.
And so I support that.
Yeah.
And if Asians can help, let's do it.
Yeah. Thank you all for coming out here. Man. Yeah. No, I already know. I feel the same way. I just I still gotta ask.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, so it look like we're getting started. Man. Okay. So who's the gentleman that's right there? Do you know?
I don't know him.
Okay.
But,
I'm sure he'll introduce himself. So they're about to start.
All right, so our first speaker that we have today is a 21-year resident, and he's 21 years old as well. Wow. John Park, 21-year resident of Irvine, California. He is the OCGOP's first vice chairman of Greater Irvine Republicans, and a friend of mine. John?
Thank you, James. I think he had it right the first time. I like the 21-year-old versus the 21-year resident, right? So thank you so much, everybody, for coming to our rally. One People, One America rally. And looking out at this audience, it looks much more like America to me. So thank you so much for coming. You're already part of the solution. And I really appreciate all the organizers here, really appreciate you being here. So thank you.
Sure.
All right, so I've got a quick story that I'm going to share with you. Some of you might have heard this story before. So I'm going to tell you a quick story. So this man, businessman.
What's up, Dosho? Good morning. Good morning, everybody.
Long day at work. Just one of those days, right? So he rides a train home every night after work. So he gets on the train. The train ride's about an hour long. And as he gets on the train, fatigued, really ready to get home, he notices a mom and two little kids on the train. They were the only ones on the train. So he got in, sat down, and he had a bunch of work still that he needed to do at home. So he whipped out his briefcase and started taking out his work papers and things like that, and started working on this. Train is now moving and headed towards home. So the kids start getting really rambunctious, right? It's just the four of them on the train. They start jumping around on the seats. They're just making a lot of noise. The mother is just sitting there, and she looks like she doesn't care, right? She's just looking straight ahead, doing something else. And the kids are jumping around, jumping from one seat to the other seat. And, he's sitting there naturally getting a little annoyed, right? He's tired, he's had a long day, and this is what I have to put up with for the next hour. And so he is patient, he restrains himself and says, okay, in my mind, this is fine, this is fine. The kids get more and more rambunctious. And it gets to the point where the kids are jumping around him, and now they're bumping his work papers and hitting up against it and that sort of thing. So he looks down, and he just can't restrain himself anymore, and looks up and says, ma'am, is there any way you can control your children? They shouldn't be behaving like this in public. So the woman, who was just looking stoically ahead, looks up and then says, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't even realize that they were doing this. We're just coming home, on our way home from their dad's funeral. And what happened in your mind was a complete paradigm shift. You went from one place to the other. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is why we're here today. We're going to talk about things that you haven't heard before at some of these rallies. And yes, absolutely, we are here to condemn Asian hate, the rise in violence against Asian Americans. We are absolutely here to do that. But we're going to talk about stopping all hate as well. We're going to talk about laws that are too deep in the state that protects the criminals instead of the victims. We're going to talk about laws that are designed by nature to discriminate against certain races and being perpetuated in the word or in the guidance of the word equity. Right? We're going to say radical things like we support law enforcement. We're going to talk about education systems that teaches of lost history. We're going to talk about all these things, these uncomfortable things that haven't been talked about. We're going to talk about today. So really what we're trying to do here today, ladies and gentlemen, we're trying to tell you the rest of the story. Right? So that's why we got together. That's why we're putting this rally together. And ultimately, we're calling for unity. You know, this isn't about an Asian thing. We're calling for unity of everyone, of all races that are represented, by the way, in this courtyard. We're calling for unity.
My bad. Hold on. I'm about to...
The road to equality, we believe, the road to equality in the American dream is not paved with equity. It is not paved with self-segregation, which is what we're doing now. And it is not paved with more...
1 second. Damn camera.
Right? And yes, of course, again, we need to stop Asian hate. But we also need to say things like, we need to stop all hate.
Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Sorry about this.
And yes, 100%. The lives of our black brothers and sisters matter. But you know what? We also need to believe that all lives matter in this country. And
hold on 1 second, guys. Hold on 1 second.
So the rally appropriately named, and by the way, coined by Joy Chen, I don't know where she is, but she coined the phrase. So the rally appropriately named, we have amazing speakers lined up for you. So finally,
Yeah, I'm James Mike.
Yeah, I'm messing up. All right, guys. Sorry about that.
Like Mark, I've been to many Stop Asian Hate rallies, and it's interesting because the narrative is always told there by one side, and we don't have a voice. So that is why we're here as well. Like John said, all lives matter. Stop all hate, but we need to recognize the hatred toward Asians, but we need to recognize the hatred toward everyone. And I think that's very important. So that's our message here. One people, one America. Let's stop all hate.
Yeah. And I want to talk about that a little bit, okay, about hate in general and racism in general. I think a lot of times with racism, we end up focusing on the symptom rather than the root cause. And I think racism is a symptom. I think hatred is the root cause. I have seen a lot, I've, dealt with a lot of racists in my life. And I noticed that a lot of them, and you kind of follow them over the years and you see what they do, that hate that they have for, let's say, a certain race, let's say it's Asian, it's black, whatever it is, always ends up getting translated to others and to themselves. So I think if we start looking at where racism and hatred comes from, which really comes from self-loathing at the end of the day, maybe we can make some progress without continuously complaining about the problem and never finding a solution, right? So I said this is when we start not making assumptions about other people that we don't know, and that takes humility, that takes intellect, then we will eradicate racism. And I certainly would, encourage that message. But the first person I wanted to bring up today, one of my good friends, and we worked with him in the Prop 16 campaign, and he's, a great guy, and he provided this generator for us to have this this event today. So we're super thankful to Steve. Just a real team player, a doer, someone who cares about the community. And we don't always agree on political issues, but we're very happy today to have Steve give us his perspective. He is married to an Asian wife, and he has children that look Asian, obviously. So he has a unique perspective, and we really want to hear from him today. So without further ado, Steve Miller.
Thanks, Mark. It's great to be here today to see so many familiar faces from our fight for equality and our great win for equality last year. And I'm really happy to see this, the motto for today being stopping all hate and one people, one America. I think that speaks so much to both the aspirations of America and the answer to the hatred we see sometimes directed against our fellow Americans. It reminds me of the slogan, E pluribus unum. It's on our coins, right? We're a nation of immigrants, and from the many, we become one. So how do we respond to despicable acts of hatred against some other Americans? I think we confront it head on. We don't turn our back. We don't close the door. And we inform the police afterwards. We prosecute the offenders to the full extent of the law. But I also think we answer attacks like this and hatred by reaffirming what's good in America. Not tearing down the idea of America, but building it up and reaffirming it. Because it's that idea of America, that e pluribus unum, that nation of immigrants out of many who become one. That's how we build a better America where everyone is equal and treated equally regardless of their race. So I think the way you push back against that is you reject contrary ideas, whether that's a college admissions officer doing that in the name of equity, which, as I say, equity is what you get when you take the all out of equality. I think you also do that by rejecting some on the other side of the spectrum who would attack immigrants from places other than Europe under the banner of America First. And I was glad to see the House Minority Leader doing that yesterday, rejecting those ideas. So I think I'm super jazzed to be here in Irvine, to see this crowd reaffirming these ideas, and keep up the good work. I'm so glad to be here.
Really appreciate it. And where's James? Where's my co-host? All right, I'm going to bring in the next speaker. Let's bring up, we're so honored to have good elected officials here. And, one of them is our very own city councilman. And Anthony Kuo is, doing a lot of great things for the city. So we're very happy to have Anthony here. Without further ado, Irvine City Councilman Anthony Kuo.
Good morning. Thank you, Marcus. First, let me stand on a little ceremony and welcome you to Irvine. My family moved here in 1978. And so if I look in the mirror, there weren't a lot of people that looked at us here in 1978. And times have changed, sometimes for the worse and some for the better. But it really is a great community. It's great to have you all here. So I am a strong supporter of public safety. Many of us here are. My friend Assemblyman Stephen Choi is here. He served here on the city council and was a tremendous supporter of public safety during this time on the council. But one of the things that I dread is unexpected calls from the chief of police. Sometimes they come early in the morning, sometimes they come late at night. because they're generally bad news. So he calls me a few weeks ago in the middle of the afternoon and is telling me about an incident that had happened here in Irvine that some of you may have read about. And he said, this man, he walked up to a car, he attacked a woman. I won't go through the details. And it turns out that the suspect is Asian. It turns out that the victim is Asian. But the twist is that the suspect says, well, I thought she was white.
Wow.
Some of you probably haven't heard that story because it doesn't follow a certain narrative. Now, I want to toot my own horn for a second. When the chief of police was calling me with this story, my very first question to him was, is she okay? I didn't say, what race was the suspect? What race was the victim? Where did it? I said, was she okay? And shouldn't that be the thought that goes through all of our minds when something happens to anyone in our family, in our community, in the world? Absolutely. Not who they are, not how it happened, was, are they okay? And what can we do for them? Because we've heard, usually we hear it in February, but we've heard the quote from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. that darkness does not drive out darkness, light does that. And hate doesn't drive out hate, love does that. So if we stop all hate, we're able to come together and be unified. It reminds me of one of my favorite, I want to call it a Reagan quote, but it was a letter that someone had sent to President Reagan. And the letter basically said, you could go to Japan. You could move there, but you'll never be Japanese. You could move to France. It won't make you a Frenchman. You could move to Germany or Turkey, and you'll never be German, and you'll never be a Turk. But when you come to America, anyone can become an American. And that's why we're here today. We're here because we're all from different places, but we're unifying as Americans, not asking where people are from, but we're asking, are you okay? And what can we do for you? And that, for me, is how we stop hate. Again, I really appreciate you all being here this morning. I really appreciate you standing up for what you believe in and being a part of this cause and being a part of that light and that love that we talk about. Thank you all.
Amazing, Anthony. Amazing.
Thank you, Anthony. All right, our next speaker is Hong Lee. I'm going to give a little intro to Hong here. I actually ran into Hong last year when we had a incident in Tustin, California here, where a man approached a woman and told her to go back to China, blamed her for corona, and he actually physically got out of his car and went after her. I was working with this woman, and Hong, actually, I reached out to her, was referred to her. She got the woman to the right people, to the authorities, and also the media, and the story broke to TMZ. Thank you, Hong, for doing that. And the funny thing about this is, when I was talking to Hong, I realized we were both from the same place. And the same place being, we were both refugees, and our families are from Ohio. So 45 years later, these kids, refugee kids, somehow linked up in California, thousands of miles away, to stop an Asian hate crime, or to report an Asian hate crime, which was just, it was just fate. So I've been able to work with Hong and talk to Hong about things that are going on, and she agreed to come up here and tell her story. Thank you, Hong.
My name is Hong Lee. Last summer, I was at a restaurant in Los Angeles. A man came up to me and handed me his business card and said, "Hey, let's have lunch." I respectfully declined. He snatched the business card from me and told me to go back to Asia. This was followed by another 2 minutes of hateful and derogatory words. I knew that if he took another 2 to 3 steps towards me, I would have been cornered in. And my only defense mechanism at the time was to record the altercation in hopes that it would not become a physical altercation. I asked for help from those around me, and they did the best they could under the circumstances. A few minutes later, the employees were finally able to escort the man to the other side of the restaurant. I called 911 for myself as I was crying uncontrollably in the corner. The police officer arrived. About 30 minutes later, I showed him the video of the incident, and he told me, "This is normal. This happens all the time. There's no police report. There's absolutely nothing we can do about this." Go back.
Her baby came to help.
My husband and I then went home and we were discussing whether or not we should share the video of the incident. We wanted to protect the privacy of our family because we do have 2 young children, but at the same time, we heard at that time there were over 2,500 attacks against the AAPI community, and I never saw a video as horrific as the encounter that I had. After sharing the video, LAPD contacted me to apologize for the responding officer's lack of action, took my police report as a hate incident, and ended up training all other patrol officers on how to address acts of hate. After the video went viral, 5 other victims came forward and recognized the man and stated they were also assaulted by the same man. One of the cases ended up becoming a hate crime with a criminal threat. This case has now been escalated to the city attorney's office for review. My case, along with all of the other victims' cases, are now supporting that case. The restaurant since then has offered bystander intervention training to their staff, since we learned from Stop AAPI Hate recently that the vast majority of these hate acts are happening inside of businesses, and so I applaud them for taking action. I am now the ambassador for the LA versus Hate Initiative, which is a county-wide initiative in order to help put an end to hate. Anyone that's ever a witness or a victim of an active hate are able to call 211 or go on laversushate.org if they're in LA County. And victims will be connected to various resources such as counseling, legal aid, medical assistance, reimbursements for lost wages, for example. And I have the privilege and the honor of being able to help other victims of hate. I am also now partnering with Asians American Advancing Justice in order to offer free bystander intervention training to anyone that is ever a witness to an act of hate. And as of today, over 50,000 people have already been trained. I am also now partnering with Stop AAPI Hate in order to remind others to report whenever these incidents happen. They have been tracking all acts of hate since the pandemic started, and as of today, there has been over 3,800 reports of hate. And we know that this number is only a fraction of what is actually happening, since a lot of people are still not reporting. So if you are ever a witness to an act of hate, I strongly urge you to help the victim if it's safe to do so. After the incident is over, console the victim, because chances are they most likely will have a lot of trauma, PTSD, even though they seem fine. For myself, I had insomnia, PTSD. I was afraid to go outside after my incident, and the counseling was very crucial for me in the recovery process. And if you are ever a victim to an act of hate, I strongly urge you to speak up, because chances are you may not be the only victim. Thank you.
Thank you, Hong, for sharing your story. Really, California. I want to bring up a good friend of mine, Dr. Stephen Choi. He's the assemblyman for this district. And, Stephen, I really applaud his bravery, especially last year with Prop 16. And that in itself was its own kind of a racist attack against Asians. That was, it really more reminiscent of what we've experienced for like 20, 25 years now, especially for immigrants. I think we hit on some points earlier that, you never really feel like you're American because people are always asking you where you're really from, stuff like that. But and that's a sad reality, but it's always been subtle. But last year was a full-on attack on the success of us Asians. And the reporter asked me today, why Irvine? Irvine is kind of an example of successful Asian Americans, don't you think? I mean, we have come here to build lives, and we live in safe suburbs, and we're so proud to to be here and to grow in numbers here. And that's something that, I think Stephen has been a big part of. He was mayor of Irvine at one point, and he's got, a few things to share with us today. So thank you, Stephen, for being here.
Thank you, Mark. Good morning, everybody, and also organizer John Park for your effort. This is my third appearance here on this piazza, protesting against anti-hate crime. Anti-hate crime is not against only Asians. That is prevalent right now going on. But I don't like the events, the causes, why I have to show up on Saturdays here. However, as long as it takes, I think we need to fight back. I have a long story to tell as a mumble jumble, but let me go through just a brief thoughts that I put down here. The issue of anti-Asian hate crime is very serious, and we must stand in solidarity. That's what we are doing right now to stop this hateful and illegal actions. A little later. Unfortunately, these hateful crimes against Asians have increased during the coronavirus pandemic period since last March and up until now. I'm an Asian immigrant from Korea. America is strengthened by contributions made by immigrants and their diversity. I regret to see the anti-Asian hate crime occurring locally and throughout the country. In 2020, Orange County experienced a tenfold increase in hate incidents and hate crimes against Asian Americans, according to the OC Human Relations statistics. These alarming numbers of victims represent the community members, small business owners, neighbors, moms, dads, children, grandparents, aunts, and uncles. Since March 2020, over 1,600 Asian Americans living in California have reported hate-related instances. This is appalling and needs to stop. One number that was not added in these statistics is my own son, who were verbally abused when he was walking out of the restaurant. I could have been with him, and I could have been the same victim. I don't think he reported to human resources, so that's why his number may not be there. There will be, so many hundreds of such similar instances that these statistics don't correctly represent the exact correct number. Nationwide, from March 19th, 2020 to February 28th, 2021, reportedly only 795 instances of Asian American racism were self-reported. These hate incidents range from verbal abuse to physical assault and being refused service for being Asians. Are we going back to old days? refusing for servicing based upon your color of skin and who you are. Many Asians have been refused service, and regardless of our regrets, and we may not believe, but about 44.56% of those reported were from California. Here in California, where more diverse population are living. The AAPI Hate Reporting Center received 503 reports of anti-Asian discrimination occurring during the first 2 months of 2000. Horrific spa killings in Georgia this past were Asian Americans, and they still refuse to define it as hate crimes. Think about it, looking for Asian-owned stores in 3 different locations and killing 8 people. Unfortunately, 2 white people were included. Unfortunate time, unfortunate place they were included. Weren't they targeted? Looking for Asian-owned people, and 6 of them out of 80 were Asians, and they still say it was not racially motivated. What's the reason? Why are they hasty to define it as a hate crime? Hate attacks have occurred against the Asians, especially since the pandemic hit. For instance, a 91-year-old man in San Francisco was brutally attacked. That's only one example we have seen in social media. Also in Tustin, a mother called a gymnastics studio to sign her daughter up for gymnastics class. Guess what? They would not sign her daughter up since she was Asian. How do we stop this kind of ridiculous trend right now going on? However, these numbers do not include the large number of unreported incidents, which may not be documented because of victims are reluctant to come forward to do
stop the hate dog.
Republican dog.
Stop the hate conservative dog.
We must condemn any act of discrimination.
You don't care about color, nothing,
any person. Community members must report the hate crimes to local law enforcement. I've been speaking at the rallies and the press conferences regarding the importance of this issue. Last month, the California legislators allocated $1.2 billion to stop HATI hate centers research and help strengthen more incidents of anti-Asian.
Are you going? Good for you. Right on.
It's on, bro. It was also introduced to create a hotline for reporting.
We out here. It's pretty hot right now. We gotta get some shade. I can't see. Oh, man. Bro, it's hot over there, man. Phone's getting hot.
Yes, I'm with SoCal.
You don't see a picture? The left side is still black. I'm looking at it. I see the full picture. Or did you move your browser forward in the YouTube? Because it should be full screen.
Anti-Asian rhetoric and violence against the community members, especially vulnerable seniors.
You might not have the entire, like click the link and move forward. It should be full screen right now.
uniting.
Yeah, man, you have to move your browser forward because you're behind.
Grassroots movement. It's not from top down or from the legislature. It's how many tough goals we may come up with, it may not stop. We need to start from the grass level.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. We appreciate it. And I want to highlight some of his points. It's really important. We started a coalition of about 40 organizations across the country that are nonpartisan and non-political, basically, that are putting pressure on the Biden administration to actually go beyond just doing the unity thing and saying, and actually giving concrete action. So one of those things is law enforcement, which kind of leads us to our next speaker. But James and I are going to wrap a little bit. First of all, I see these signs, James, of SB 82. Tell us a little bit about it.
All right. So this SB 82, you guys see this, and you're wondering what's the relevancy of Stop Asian Hate rally. So people are like, what is SB 82? Well, I'm gonna give a little description of a situation and that explains it. So let's say you and your wife, or you're walking through a park, and a group approaches you, and they rob you. They rob you of your wallet. Let's say you have $50 on you. They steal your wallet, knock you down, intimidate you, and leave. Now that is an act of force. Would you agree that that is robbery? Yes. Would you agree that that is a criminal act, that the persons deserve to be in jail? Yes. Another situation. A grandmother is walking down the street in Chinatown. She's just minding her business. Somebody comes, kicks her cane, knocks her over, and steals her money. She might just have $10. She's going down the street to buy a sandwich or something. Is that an act of robbery? Yes. Is that a punishable crime? Yes. What SB 82 says is no. It says that that is petty theft. That is the equivalent of stealing a candy bar. Because it's under $950, because there's not a weapon involved, and there's not great bodily harm. But what about the emotional toll to the victim? This bill that they're trying to introduce, Mark, basically says it's okay to do crimes. It's okay to rob.
And hasn't this been a trend? Because Prop 47, I believe, in the early 2010s, really saw a dramatic rise in crimes all around the city, or around the state, rather.
And if you criminalize certain offenses as well.
So the threshold to go from misdemeanor to felony really jumped up dramatically. So then, I was actually a victim of this crime in 2015, 2016. I had just gotten back from New York. I lived there for 5 years and came back here, and it's just building my life back up. And, I had a pickup truck, an old pickup truck, and, a camper shell with all my possessions in the back of my truck. And I went to a business networking thing in Cerritos, and my vehicle was robbed. And I walked out, it was gone, and was found in Compton 12 days later, stripped apart, battery was gone, it was just all, and all my stuff was obviously gone and probably sold. I talked to some of the city council people in Cerritos and the police department, and they said, oh, this happens at least 3 times a weekend. I mean, have we gone to a point now? What? It's our Sacramento legislators, obviously, not Stephen Choi, other his colleagues, and it's sad. And one of the things that just happened was Prop 25.
Tell us about that, Mark.
Yeah.
We don't really know about Prop 25.
So Prop 25, I just wrote an op-ed, and it's going to get published this weekend about this exact issue, because I'm actually the co-chair for the Recall Gascon Now campaign, and we are. Because what happens in LA ends up affecting what goes on here in Orange County. And what happened is in November last year, we actually defeated Prop 25 with an overwhelming margin. It was something like 55-43, I believe, so it was like a 12-point win. And now what they're doing is basically it's set to keep cash bail. So that means that a lot of our criminals will be, the ones that are charged with crimes will stay in prison in the interim before the trial, and they would be off the streets. But what happened is they're now ramming through the back door and through DAs like Gascon, allowing these criminals to roam free before their trial and actually committing more crimes. And I've actually documented, and I won't bore you guys with the details on this, but if you go online to aib2b.org, I actually have a list of all of the criminals that were released right after, and they went on to commit more crimes. So those subsequent victims would have been avoided, or that wouldn't have happened if we just stayed faithful to the will of the California people, which was to vote to keep cash bail and to say no on 25. So it's really amazing what's going on. This law and order thing is really at the heart of protecting our Asian community. And I don't see other rallies talking about it. I see other rallies talking about being victims. I see other rallies, complaining about the problem. And sure, there's a problem, but this is the solution. And this segues me to our next speaker. I want to bring up my friend Tony Moon. Tony, are you ready to come up? Tony is actually, he's very active on social media and Twitter, and he calls himself the rooftop Korean. And I'm sure you guys know that's a reference to the rooftop Koreans back in the watch riots that actually successfully defended their businesses, from what was going on at the time. So, I really, I'm excited to hear what he has to say. Tony, hello, Tony.
Paging Tony.
Tony, I see you, but I don't think you're listening. Tony.
Tony right here. Good job, Tony. All right, Tony.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark, for inviting me. I don't do this very often. In fact, 6 months ago, I was in my garage drinking beer. I had no idea there was a meme called Roof Koreans. It was about a week in April, about 29 years ago now, that I made a decision with my friend to go out and protect the community. And I was 19 at that time. And I was able to use actually my first purchase. My first check, I bought a Remington 870 shotgun. But I had no idea that in about a year later, I have to take that out in April and actually start running patrols. And it was actually a phone call. My friend called me because his brother had a stereo shop called Sound Expo on Virgil and Washington. And we had basically pulled all the merchandise away from the windows. And then one of the things that the news doesn't talk about is that there was a lot of Hispanic and Black employees and neighbors that were helping us at that time. I think that gets shot under the radar because we're in a time right now where the institutions that we have are looking to divide us. And I put the blame of this straight on the feet of the mainstream media like CNN, MSNBC, and also with left-wing Democrat politicians like Ted Lieu, who doesn't realize that he's a racist when he's calling out people and basically within a party that's looking to segregate instead of unite us as a people. So I have 3 points I want to go over. I don't know how much time I have. I didn't ask Mark. I don't want to take up too much time, but I just want to talk about a little bit about the past, which I did. I want to talk about the present, future, and then just kind of finalize it with something. But right now, there's a lot of media misdirection that I've seen. The riots that I saw last year in 2020, and I'm preparing and gearing up for the new riots that come up this summer, because it looks like we're going to be hitting riot season again, 2021, based on all the stuff that we're seeing on the news. These riots are different. These are not people from the community that are coming out and basically burning and looting their own stores. These are people that are bussed in, that are coming from different areas. A lot of them are from middle class to upper middle class families, burning and looting stores and areas that they don't live in. And it's basically being covered up by the media. They're not talking about it. And one of the things they're not letting us do in terms of Asian hate, and this is my friend A1. He's doing a live stream. He's Black. I got Ben Intelligent. Where's Ben?
Yeah, he's an African American gentleman too. You know, we're not connected in this country by the way we look. You know, just because I look like Ted Lieu doesn't mean that I share the same ideology as him, right? I share more with A1 and Ben than I do with Ted, and I consider A1 my brother, right? I don't know if you guys can see the resemblance. But the reason why I'm laying this in front of the mainstream media, in front of CNN and MSNBC, is because they're not allowing us to have a national dialogue with everybody, with different groups. We're not able to connect and talk because they're putting everything under the rug, under the guise of white supremacy, which in fact is just a big farce. It's not true. You know, if you look at all the videos that we've seen, there's a small minority, and this isn't just the black and brown community or white community, but there's also within the Asian community, there's a small minority of people in this country that just hate, period. You know, and it doesn't matter what color you are, they just hate. And we need to have a conversation on a national level in order to kind of bring this to a close, but they're not letting that happen. So I feel the blame is on them and on the politicians. What I want to also talk about is the future, and this is something I would highly encourage some of you guys, if you guys haven't thought about it. I know most of us here are Asian, but I consider all of us Americans, and we've come here to this country, whether you came here generations ago, you know, through Ellis Island, or you came through LAX. We all came here because of the different opportunities that we had in this country, and wherever we were wasn't working out for either us, our parents, or our grandparents, right? So in that sense, we were told to come here, get an education, get a job, right? Go buy a house, go start a family, go live your life. Well, I'm going to challenge you today. What more is there than that, right? Is that all there is in this country? Is that all there is to it, right? Because this is how the country splits apart. This is how the republic dies. Because you do all those things and you forget the one thing that's really important. I know public education is emphasizing STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and what is that, mathematics. We need to add an H in there. And the H, you can put it wherever you want in order to make it a really cool acronym, but we need to add history in that. Because there's a lot of things that are going on right now that we as a people, maybe the older generations are aware of it, but the younger ones aren't. And they're right now, maybe skipping away from UC Irvine, are being indoctrinated by these leftist professors. And I've said this before, no one leaves a country, you know, that is totalitarian, a communist country, to come here and have their kids educated by those same people that they left. So what I'm asking you is, as parents and as young people, don't become the people that your parents left to come here, and make a difference here now. Get involved. There's a lot of great people here that are activists, politicians. You can get locally involved. And I think, you know, for however you voted, I voted for Trump, right? And we didn't get the results that we wanted. But you know what? I'm a Christian. I believe in the Lord, and I think everything for our good, right? So in this sense, it's activated a lot of people. A lot of people have come out and they want to get involved locally. I highly encourage you to do that. Don't just come here and have, you know, feel good about it. Actually go to your local community, get something done. Because the only way we're going to change things is we change things on the local level first. So I highly encourage you to do that. And also, in talking to your kids, talk about legacy, right? I mean, don't leave them a smaller estate tax, which is important, I'm sure, but leave them something more. Leave them something about your history, how you came here, what your grandparents did, the struggles that you had coming here. I know it's painful to hear. I'll be honest, I didn't share this before, but I've shared this because my aunt told me, but I wouldn't be here, by the grace of God, unless the U.S. Army had intervened in the Korean War. My grandfather at that time was a de facto mayor of a small town that everybody knew, and the North Korean Army had his name on the list, and they were hunting him. And 11 times they took him out to the field to basically kill him. On the 11th time, he knew he was going to die because they actually had him out, and they actually were going to take him out. It was a clear night, big moon out, and U.S. Army choppers flew overhead, and these guys took off. So my grandfather was able to keep his life and emigrate and come here, and basically here I am, right? So I thank the Lord that happened. I thank the U.S. military for that. And lastly, I just want to say that I've heard that it's always darkest before the dawn. So I want to let you know that in this country right now, and this is what I feel, and I've been talking to other people, there's a revival going on. If you're of the faith, you know, if you believe in Christ, there is a revival going on, and with that, there will be a resurgence. So with that, I thank you, and just want to tell you to keep hope and keep fighting. If you're an activist, get out to the rallies, get involved. and just, you know, be out there. Don't be home anymore. You've seen everything you need to see on YouTube and Netflix. You know, get other things done. Be active in your local community. And thank you.
Thank you so much, Sean.
God bless you. God bless America. I really appreciate it.
And real quick, because he's got to leave, but you know, James, you can introduce yourself.
Yeah, so our next speaker is Fred Ricker. He is a former Orange councilman, and also the chairman of Orange County GOP. Fred?
James, Mark, Sean, thank you for allowing me to be here. You know, today is a lot about showing our love for one another, one nation, one people. And I think people need to understand the history and the narrative. You know, our Declaration of Independence said we are all endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, among them life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That didn't mean for one race or another race. That meant for all people. We are all God's children. Today, you'll see a narrative that's out there that says it's white supremacy, or it's conservatives, or it's the Republican Party somehow trying to divide people. It's anything but the truth. The Republican Party is the Republican Party of Abraham Lincoln and the Emancipation Proclamation. It's the Republican Party that fought for the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments that didn't allow the states to have discriminatory laws. It's the Republican Party of the 1957 and 1964 Civil Rights Acts. It's also the Republican Party that has fought reverse discrimination in terms of affirmative action. You know, it's the Democrats that perpetuate this idea of we want one race to be preferred over another. That's what Prop 16 was all about, ladies and gentlemen. And when we decide that we're going to have collective guilt for one race, or we're going to have collective preference for another race, that's all about saying the state has a role in what our lives are supposed to be. It's not about individual freedom. It's not about individual accountability. It's about collectivism. And collectivism requires the power of the state. And I'm just here to tell you the Republican Party is the party that stands for freedom, individual accountability. And it stands for our nation as one nation from many people. Don't be fooled. Racism, at its heart, the hate that drives racism, desperately wants the government to come in and say, these people can't be here. These people have to only do this. These people need to be put on a pedestal. That is totalitarianism right there. That is the government, that is the police power of the state being used against you. And if it's being used against you, it's going to be used against me tomorrow. So ladies and gentlemen, stand for one another, stand for each other, because only together can we keep America a free nation. One people, stop all hate.
Thank you so much. I want to bring up, actually, I'm very excited to introduce her. Crystal Jade is a longtime friend of mine. Crystal's in a beautiful Cheongsam, and she is going to come up and speak. But I want to just kind of like prelude it. You know, Crystal is a doer. I'm really tired of a lot of people that get involved in the community and politics, whatever it is. And they're just talk, theorize. I call it mental masturbation. I mean, it's just, it's so tiring. But, you know, this woman is a doer. She gets stuff done. She's helped me so much in my events in the past. And, you know, I'm just so excited to have her speak. And, you know, we kind of feel strongly about this, too, because Crystal and I had a little conversation. I am very happy to say that this is a nonpartisan, non-political event, because I feel like I got to slam both the left and the right on this. Okay, the left, thank you. I want to thank the left, because the left opened up the discussion and said, okay, let's make this hashtag and let's get attention around this. But you know what the right did right after? The right wanted to suppress it. The right wanted to say there is no Asian hate, which is the biggest lie ever, okay? Because it's happening. It's well documented. If you follow Asian Dawn
water.
On Instagram,
excuse me, guys. Just gotta grab some of this water. It's really hot out here.
Yes, exactly. And you know, we're going to bring Joy up because she's got something to say about that as well. So we're just very happy today to actually...
I'm sorry. Grab some of this water.
But also to realize
I didn't have hands to open it, so I was just staring at it. Thank you.
No problem. All right, guys, we have to stop After they protest in Irvine, get back over. I'll be at 10-1 Flats later today.
Why don't you come and speak? Yeah, I go, okay. Right, I am a Chinese, and I'm proud to be a Chinese. All right? I'm Chinese. All right? So what I'm trying to say is that I am proud of where I come from, who I am. Why should I be ashamed of who I am?
Nobody
right?
should.
But we all come together, come to America. What does America promise? A melting pot for each and every one of us who choose to call this place our home. Yes. So, in that way, we are American. Yes. So, you talk about being, when some people see me say, hey, go back to China. I say, excuse me, I'm not made in China. I'm not. I'm not from China. So you said the presumption of the people when they come and see you, go back to China, go back where you come from. Why should I go back? Who are you to tell me? Where should I go? We make a choice to come here to make this our home. And here we fight for our freedom. Where I come from, I cannot fight for my freedom. Where I come from, I cannot stand here and speak and say, hey, you, Sleepy Joe. No, we can't do that. So this is what America is all about, right? You are from the left, you are from the right, you are independent. It doesn't matter. We just need to respect one another.
Absolutely.
So there is no hate. I'm proud to go out and wear my cheongsam or my qipao and say, I'm Chinese. I'm not afraid of that. How many times people come out to me and spit at me? Mark knows me. I'm everywhere. I organize rallies. I do this. I was at the OC supervisor meeting and things like that. I'm not afraid to say I'm Chinese. Mm-hmm. Why should I be afraid? Because there is no Asian hate. Look at all my friends here. Come on.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay, I'm not trying to say color now, but yeah. Yeah. They're white. There are all kinds of people here in America, wherever I go, whichever community I go to. There they are, welcoming me. All my friends that I come across. GOP, Mr. Fred Whitaker, welcome me in the office. And he's the one to say, okay, do the recall. So, you see, we are here to help one another. And somebody asked me, why do I want to do this? Why am I an activist? Because I think I have the right to fight what I want to be, what I want this country to be. So I pick up myself. I do not run with a group. I do not run with a committee, but I run what the Lord told me to do. I know that I put forth my feet forward in faith, and God will lead the way.
Absolutely.
And then from that on, I meet so many people. If I just hide in I got no basement. So if I hide where I am and stick my ass to the couch, I will not know any one of you here. So we are there. So I become a volunteer for campaigns. I'm Chinese. I speak Huayi. 我讲国语. So I am accepted to many candidates because I make phone calls and I speak Chinese. I make Chinese phone calls. Right?
Yeah.
Don Wagner, other people. And so how to be involved? Not just, okay, I must be rah, 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 I must be sitting in front of TV. Be where you are, where your community needs you, your candidates. So how are we going to change this, whatever we are here? Get involved. All right? I'm very sad to say the Democrat has become the communist. So what choice do we have? Well, the Republicans. So the next time you have a Republican candidate in your community, in your district, who runs for an office, go and help them. Do not be afraid. You speak with an accent. They love Chinese people. They love Vietnamese people. Hey, we were looking for Vietnamese color. We were looking for Thai color. We were looking for every Asian language color. and we can't find them. So, wherever you are, your community, even for Laos, be involved. Don't let anybody else to tell you, hey, come on, let's go. No, let's do it. Just do it. To change America is you, not him, not Fred, not John, but you. You want change, then the change has to start in you. And that is how we have to change. We can change America. So thank you very much. And I want to shout out to all my Chinese friends, come from all the way from LA. Hey, Julie, 你好。他们很好哈，他们 George 是讲华语的。哎，谢谢你们来这里。Okay, thank you everyone, and God bless you. Remember Romans 8:28. We all come together for the good, for those who are called according to His purpose. Amen.
Thank you, Crystal.
All right, our next speaker, Dr. GT, is retired medical doctor and a community organizer. We're ready for you, Doctor.
Hey guys, we're out here. We had 10 orange flags later. I came out to the Stop All Hate.
Thank you.
Stop Asian Hate rally in Irvine City Hall.
Really political activist or community activist, but I was waking up by what happened in 2020. So I think we're losing our country, and we need to stand up to save our country, to save California. So here I am here, and I'd like to say something about law and order in California. I'm sorry, I'm not a politician, I'm not an activist, so I don't know how to.
Yeah, Kip, I thought it would be a crowd, but hey man, you got to start somewhere, brother.
We all know the notorious Proposition 47 was orchestrated by then California Attorney General Kamala Harris, supported by California Democratic Party and championed by ACLU, misled voters by using title of Safe Neighborhoods and Schools Act. But Proposition 47 encouraged crimes by reducing non-violent felonies to misdemeanors for theft of $950 or under. Proposition 47 actually increased crimes to the communities and schools across California. Proposition 47 made the neighborhood and schools less safe. Since 2014, the passing of Proposition 47, many communities across California have experienced the explosive increase in the criminal activity, including violent crimes such as home burglaries, where were and still are endangered individuals and hurting retailing businesses, big or small. Many of the businesses owned by minorities, including Asian Americans. And here I'd like to say I disagree with Steve Choi about Asian crimes increase statistics. Yes, it is increased, but did they have crimes against Blacks, against Hispanics, crimes against whites? How those statistics? Do we have all the crimes increase across nations, across California? And in the circumstances, of course, Asians will not be immune. Okay, so our politicians in California choose idealism over our safety, social experiment over common sense. Apparently in California, Democrat politicians, also some Republican politicians, including Steve Choi, I disagree with, are not concerned about spiked criminals activities all over California after Proposition 47 passed. Democrats legislature believe they need to go further to help criminals instead of law-abiding California residents. Recently, Nancy Skinner from Berkeley, another Democrat state senator, introduced Senate Bill 82 or SB 82, which is an enhanced version of Proposition 47. They believe Proposition 47 is not enough to protect, to help criminals. So Proposition 82, SB 82 is going further to encourage crime by making strong armed robbery a misdemeanor. Proposition 47 passed in 2014 encourages non-violent crime. SB 82 in 2021 is to encourage violent crime, even it is a strong armed robbery, a misdemeanor. This bill would define the crime of a petty theft in the first degree as taking the property from person of another or from a commercial establishment by means of force or fear, without the use of a deadly weapon or greatly bodily injury. This bill would define the crime of a petty theft in the second degree as all other petty theft. What is a great bodily injury? Great bodily injury would be defined as physical injury suffered by the victim of a violent crime that causes a substantial risk of death, extended loss, or impairment of a body part or function, or permanent disfiguration. So how we interpret great bodily injury, it has very blurry or not, it's hard to define. So which means if you don't broke your arm, but you get huge big cut, you think that's misdemeanor, it's not crime. But this bill also retroactive, meaning the bill will restructure the sentencing of a convicted robbery felons. So now we are living in the time of crimes interests all about law-abiding residents' interests in California. In the very recent years, under Governor Newsom, through Democrats control the legislature or governor's executive orders, now we got $0 bail in California, which means a crime suspect will be released within 12 hours without a cash bail. Governor Newsom released 8,000 plus prisoners back to the street before their term over. We also have the
Yeah, so we are at the Stop Asian Hate rally in Irvine, California right now. She's currently reading a bill. This is just some of the signage that they have up. We're at Irvine City Hall. So give you guys a shot of the crowd. I believe this is their first one. They'll probably grow as they continue to do these. So I got up early. Just let everybody know I cover everything in LA. Real diverse. It's hot out here, so I had to get out of the sun. I feel like my phone is about to start overheating. Just want to get in a cooler area for a second. Then I'll go back out when the next speaker steps up. Because she's just reading a bill or something. I'm not sure what the bill is she's reading. But she is reading a bill. Hey, Kelly, thank you. Hey, what's up, Kelly? Potato California, thank you for all your support. Definitely appreciate that. On So yeah, so that's the crowd right there. That's the speaker. See everybody. So over here, they're kind of sitting in the shade. It's really hot out here. Like there's no shade or anything. Just sitting right under the sun. I'll be back over there in 1 second. I feel so much better right here. Jeez. I got a little breeze right here. Burning up.
I want to bring up a good friend of mine, Ted Louis. He's the Fountain Valley City Councilman.
Yeah, Fountain Valley City Councilman. Let's go back over to the front.
Before he was in election office. But most importantly, this is a guy in the community that's doing just what our last speaker had said. Let's get involved. Let's actually make a difference. And he did. In the months of December and January, while every restaurant was closed because they were afraid, because the governor decided to shut things down, he worked with his restaurants in the city to keep things open. So I could grab an indoor dining meal during that month, and it was these are memories that could have been not happened if if I didn't have an outlet like Fountain Valley. So Ted is really brave, and Ted is really a principled guy, and he's also helped us out with our coalition to address these Asian attacks. So we're very excited to hear from you. Thank you, Ted.
Thank you so much, Mark, for the introductions. Everyone, please join me to pledge the flags of the United States of America. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to which stand, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So, thank you so much. So, are we all Americans? Yeah. That's what I want to hear. How's everyone doing today? First of all, I want to thank you all for coming out here on a beautiful Saturday, right? Who wants to be out here this Saturday, or rather be spend time with their families? But thank you for being here. That means what? That means you care of what's been going on around the nations. And it is deeply sad for what's happening. And I really, truly enjoyed your movement moving forward and address these issues. So we have a lot of great speakers today. So I'm more of a factual person. So what I like to do is bring you some facts. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I brought this up, some of these issues, and they say, well, there's nothing real going on. I said, really? Okay, let me go back and take a look at it, see what you're saying is accurate. So basically, I'm sharing with you is don't listen what they tell you, but do some own homework. Then you'll find your own factual data if what they're saying is true or not. So according to this data is put together by the Center for the Study of Hate and Extremism, Cal State, let me see, make sure I don't pronounce the wrong name, California State University of San Bernardino. And they compiled this data through the FBI data and also the policing agency. So you could say that this information is pretty much accurate. So we have, since the crime against anti-Asian hate crimes, it has a surge of 145%. Okay, so for those who say that, oh, no, it's very small, there's nothing wrong, well, explain me those numbers. The leading city in the United States is New York. Second is Los Angeles with a hate crime. And there's other cities that never had such hate crimes, such as Texas, Colorado. Never had crime on anti-Asian in the past. Now they do. So tell me how it doesn't happen. So the information, like it's there. So as American, how do you, don't be a victim. We have to thank for law enforcement for bringing law and order. And their hands are tied by who? By politicians or by the superior. So as an American, what you want to do is, if you believe strongly this is wrong, stand up. And how do you make a stand? By reach out to your local leaders. Whether it's your local city councilman, bring up the issues. Bring up to the state assemblyman. Bring up to your congressman. Bring it to the senator. Give them the pressure. Tell them the law is there. We need to enact it. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's all good, bro. bad. I don't want to litter out here.
Thank you so much, Ted. That's a great guy. Come to Fountain Valley, the restaurant.
Just had to get back in the shade for a second. We're still in Irvine. Give you guys the crowd view.
Listen, the next person I want to bring up is my good friend Leslie. And Leslie actually is a California native, right? When you moved to Vegas and came back. And I think what moved her back is love for her home and to see, all the things that are going on, and especially with these Asian attacks. She's a business woman, she's a philanthropist, and just an all-around great person. So Leslie, she came to me with a news story that she's
not a big turnout, but hopefully it'll be a powerful turnout.
Incidents that happened. So, and I said, hey,
I believe this is their first one. So I think it's good for your first one. I've been to some before where it hasn't. It's been like 2 or 3 people. Come back to this side so you can hear.
Story that I read that really upset me and thought that you might find this interesting. And I'm going to also talk about what we can do to combat these issues. So there was a 70-year-old woman who was on a bus, just innocently on her way to a grocery store. She didn't drive, so she had to take a bus. And this is in the Eagle Rock Highland Park area, not that far from here in Los Angeles. Another passenger, and this was described, the story was reported on 2 news medias, Asian Dawn, as somebody mentioned, and the East Sider. So this is where I'm getting my information. So another passenger who was described as a black woman, aged 25 to 30, called the elderly woman a racial slur. The slur that she used applied to people of Chinese descent. And then she violently attacked her. Now, in this particular case, the victim was in fact Mexican American, and according to her son, she's often mistaken for being Asian. The victim was attacked and ultimately dragged from the back of the bus all the way to the front of the bus, according to her son. The victim's face and eyes were severely swollen, her nose was broken, her hair was pulled out of her head, and she suffered a concussion.
Shit.
During this attack, according to her son, nobody would help her, not even the bus driver. The attack only ended when a passenger called 911. The victim was held in the hospital for about 24 hours and released. Her son said that she has difficulty walking. Her leg was badly bruised in the incident, compounding a pre-existing condition of lupus arthritis and other disabilities. Police confirmed that there has been an arrest in the case, but they have not released any details about the incident. So there were tons of photos on the internet that her son shared, and I don't know if you can see this, but I mean, this poor woman was horrifically, violently assaulted. Okay, so this is, I'm sorry, it's bullshit. I'm sorry, that's how I feel that. So, what are some of the things that we can do as people that are in the environment, out here, citizens, law-abiding people? Get involved and support the AAP groups in your area. If there isn't one in your area, create one. Speak out if you witness a hate crime or an incident. Depending upon the circumstances, consider intervening. And if it's a verbal attack, if somebody's being yelled at, I mean, I just don't understand when people stand back and don't do anything, like the incident in the bus. I understand if somebody's being verbally attacked, if you're, a small person, you may be afraid, but you can try to at least distract the person or do something to help the victim. And you can also videotape it. People don't like being videotaped because they know what's going to happen with that. Report the hate crime or incident, as a lot of people have already said. Immediately call 911 if this is a violent situation or if someone's safety is in danger. Hate crimes are not being reported, as some people have mentioned, in the Asian American community. So there are different organizations such as Stop AAPI Hate that have been tracking incidents across the United States. So they need to be reported, we need to stand up, and we need to speak out about them. Consider taking part in training about hate so people can learn how to stop anti-Asian xenophobic harassment when they see it.
check in with your Asian American friends and families to see how they're doing and if there's anything that you can do to support them. Maybe they're afraid to go out because of what's going on and they're elderly or what have you. Ask them if you can get something for them at the grocery store, run an errand for them, et cetera, et cetera. Take them to the medical facility if they need to go to the doctor. Learn about the history of Asian American discrimination in the United States. Advocate for awareness in your workplace if you see issues like this occurring in the workplace. Reach out to your elected officials, as many people have said, your local community leaders. Let them know that this is a serious crisis and they need to develop a prevention program and a program to support victims and their families. Volunteer to be a part of the solution. Like a lot of people said, we can't sit on the sofa and the couch anymore. We have to get off our couches. We have to get involved because no one else is going to take care of us except ourselves. My family came from China. My grandparents immigrated from China. My mother came over when she was 2 years old on the very last boat, and it was because they were running away from the communism. They got in the very last boat out of China. And my grandparents and my parents, they built a legacy here because they worked hard and they're dedicated and they love this country. So I personally have decided that I'm not going to stand back and I'm not going to let this country fold. Or at least if it does, I did my best. And I hope that everybody else will really think about that, take that to heart and get involved.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Leslie.
Good job.
Our next speaker today is George Lee, former TALK president and a community organizer.
I just got to give a shout out. George did a lot of work behind the scenes for this event as well, and we just love him so much. Thank you, George.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you very much for everybody for coming here on Saturday morning, especially my friends in the back row from all the way from Los Angeles, Susan, and all the other people, I don't know the name, and yeah, very excited about that. And today, I think a lot of people, a lot of my friends talked about this, crimes, violence, hate, the rise of these criminals activities against Asian Americans and all other Americans as well.
Go ahead, Kelly. Say what's on your mind.
My friends talk about this is the root cause of this phenomenon is a lack of the law and order and the defund police movement, all this kind of radical left agenda. But I would like to tell you guys what I see even more another angle. It is from a cultural. It's a cultural front that Americans are attacked by the radical left agenda. Most notably, the critical race theory they are pushing around to brainwash our people and especially our younger generation. For people who don't know the CRT, it is a doctrine. It is lies, I call it. To say American is inherently systemic racist country built on race discrimination and race oppression. It classifies this country in two classes, the oppressed and the oppressors. White are the oppressors because they have a privilege at the expense of the people of color. Interestingly, CRT regard Asian Americans as white adjacent. It's a privilege. Is that ridiculous? It's ridiculous. Why? Because Asian Americans work hard, pay attention to education, and achieve their American dream. That doesn't fit the narrative of oppressed minority in the leftist narrative. So they just kick out of people of color. They think that we are privileged. So this kind of a talking point, this narrative increase, I think it's sow the hatred. It's sow the discord among Asian Americans and other races. And I think currently the crime, the heightened crime environment was attributed largely on this climate, this race narrative created in America. Yeah, we are, I am a Chinese American who immigrated to a great country 20 years ago. We fled the dictatorship, tyranny to seek freedom. Then we see this is a doctrine, this is a CRT, is a very dividing, divisive, and hostile to Asian Americans. But for us, we know that a lot of people who came here from communist China know that in 1960s through 1970s, we have similar things happen. It's called a cultural revolution. We had a warfare, we had a class warfare at that time. It is the same as what's happening here. It's one class of oppressed versus another class of oppressors. It's totally nonsense, okay? So I would like to let you know that this is a tactic of a radical left to divide and control our people, to turn our people, one group of people against another. We just don't let them do that, okay? We cannot let them divide the country and destroy this country. So what I'm telling you is that we have to do something about it. It's a war against American people. It's a war against American freedom. So what I tell you is that I suggest is that start actions. So one action is that talk to your representatives, local, city, state, and federal, and strongly express your opposition against the CRT agenda. And also, please attend the school board meetings in your local district and talk to people and oppose this radical agenda. Because California Board of Education passed this so-called ethnic study model curriculum in March, and they will implement this curriculum across the state. So we have to stop that. We have to talk to the legislators to stop them make this mandatory in our schools. We don't want our kids to be brainwashed and indoctrinated by this very, very communist left agenda. So together, let's fight. Let's unite. We are one nation, one America, one people. Together, we'll take our freedom back. Thank you very much.
Hey Kelly, you
sorry, I forgot. Yeah, there's a wonderful family recently moved to China, from China to this great country to seek freedom. His name is Kelton's son. He wants to speak a few words about his experience. Thank you. Thank you, Kelton.
Thank you. Bye, family. Bye-bye. Fiona, my daughter, Lisa. Sorry, I don't know English, but I have American dream.
Okay, I will translate. Thank you.
在中国
In China,
所有的身份证上都会注明种族成分。
all the ID will mark what your race is.
以保证你会被区别对待。
To make sure that you can be treated separately.
这种区分的本质就是限制自由。
What's the reality is just the limitation to the freedom.
我听说美国的身份证上面不注明种族。
I heard that there was no race to mark on the ID, right?
因此，我带领我们一家人来到了美国。
So I come here with my whole family.
是的，我们进入美国才6个月。
We just have been here for 6 months.
但是我们每一天看到的媒体报道都是在强调种族。
But what we can saw every day from the major media is that for also race.
你是非裔的，你是亚裔的。
maybe afraid of African race and Asian race and all the races.
如果是这个白人这个被打死了，就不会被报道。
If there is a white was killed, that it will not be reported.
那么其实只要我们深入的思考一下，就会明白。
If we just thought it one step further.
种族主义的基础是做种族区分。
The foundation of the racism is to separate all the races.
没有种族区分就没有种族主义。
Without this, there is no racism.
所以种族区分不是美国。
So that's not American.
I have a dream.
I have a dream. 我有个梦。
回归法治。
Go back to law and order.
停止种族区分。
Stop the race separately.
回归事实报道。
Go back to report really.
停止将美国变成中国。
Stop let American becoming China.
神会祝福这个不区分种族的国家。
God will bless this no racism American.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Kelly, you got the show on Tuesday. We're coming back. It's gonna be real good. It'll be a good mixed crowd. The People's Forum's coming back this week.
Bring up the Korean conservative now.
Yeah. Our next speaker, the Korean conservative. You guys follow him on Instagram.
I love your videos. Huge fan.
Hello. All right, listen. When he first DM'd me to come here, I done told him you might not like the way I say things, and he said everybody agrees you should still come. So you're gonna get. You asked for it. You asked for this. You're gonna get what you're gonna get.
It's the Korean conservative on Instagram.
So for everybody with kids here, I would highly suggest you take them out right now. And I'm going to use some language here. And there's a term I'm going to be using a number of times, and it's going to be the word animals. But I want you to keep this in mind. The word animals is used to describe a type from a specific demographic. Because if you behave in a certain way, I'm going to call you a motherfucking animal. That's going to happen. So let me start this off by saying that hashtag Stop Asian Hate. A number of people have spoken about it. You're actually wrong on some accounts, so I'll correct you. Don't worry about it. And but in short, here's my thesis statement: the hashtag Stop Asian Hate is fundamentally useless as fuck. And here's why. So first off, if you guys don't know, Stop Asian Hate only came around after that one white guy did what he did in Atlanta. Only after that. Here's where the leftist media fucked up though. We have access to the internet. These people still think it's the 90s where the mainstream media is the only thing we have access to. You done fucked up. The internet is here. And we saw how quiet you were when it was blacks attacking us at disproportionate rates. And by the way, speaking of which, that's been going on for decades. Don't believe me? But okay, here's a statistic. The black thugs from the black community, animals, they've been attacking us at a disproportionate rate of 280 to 1 than the other way around for decades now. It's more than just recently. That study comes from the Justice Department from 2018. Why is the 2018 date so important? Because that was before the coronavirus thing. Do you understand why that's important? Okay, so even before adjusting for population, they attack us at a rate of 280 times more than we attack them. Because let's face it, Asian Americans, we're just not built that way. We mind our own business, we work hard, and for that we're currently being punished. I'll address that in a little bit too. So, stay with me. But yeah, so that only came around after the white guy did it, right? And the reason why they decided to do that only after the white guy did it was because they needed to find a way to hijack Asian American votes like they did with black votes in BLM, right? Because here's the thing. Here's the thing. When Candace Owens and Brandon Tatum started Lexit, and when Lexit became a thing from Jesse, my friend over there, Jesse, the rest of them, I called it a long time ago. The Democrats are slowly going to start losing the black and Latino vote, and the recent voting demographics show what the vote was for Trump. It's like nothing we've ever seen before from the black and Latino demographics. And I called it, they're gonna go after the Asians next. Here's the problem with trying to go after Asians though. We're not that emotional. I'm not saying we're sociopaths. I'm not saying we're psychopaths. But as far as like not being driven by emotion, even other blacks will agree. The black and Latino community are very emotional people. Don't believe me? Go to an Asian party, go to a black party, go to a Latino party. See how boisterous we are. We're not, right? Even drunk, we're not, because we pretty much just pass out, don't we? We pretty much, right? But relatively, compared to the black and Latino, we're just not, which is why it's easy for Democrats/liberals to hijack their votes with their feelings through art, Hollywood, music industry. It's easy to hijack their feelings by continuing to say, you're a victim, but if you vote for us, we can help you. It's easy to hijack their feelings, which is what art is based on, through movies, music, television, shit like that, right? It doesn't work on Asians, because we'll just watch that and be like, aw, anyway, so this math problem, right? Because we want to make money. And they knew it wouldn't work on us that way. They've never dealt with potential voters like us before. We are way smarter than average. Even statistics will show that. It doesn't work with us. So how do you hijack a people that are just that awesome? I'll tell you how. They went the Sandy Hook route, right? Personal tragedy. Let's find a way in, because it's not an art form anymore. It's personal. So only after that did they do the Stop Asian Hate. So someone here recently said, oh, Stop Asian Hate is bullshit. I think it was this gentleman over here. Let me correct you for a second. It's not, conservatives saying Stop Asian Hate is bullshit is not us trying to deny the fact that there are hate crimes against Asians right now. We're saying it's bullshit that only now it's going around because leftists have decided, oh, this is the perfect, the nuance gets lost. Okay, cool. But it's only after that they decided, oh, it's white people bad. And they obviously want to still tie this to Trump. The reason, okay, here's a key ingredient to defeat the left at this particular rhetoric. They say that it's still all based on white supremacy, all because Trump was the one that said, oh, it's the China virus. That's what they're saying. That's how they tie it back into white supremacy. Oh, it's Trump's fault because Trump said China virus. Here's the thing. As a Korean American, I don't give a fuck what you call it. Is it from China? Good, then shut the fuck up, right? Look, if a flu came from Korea, they'd be like, if they'd said it's the Pyongyang virus or the Gangnam virus, okay, it's true, right? Look, I was born in South Korea. I came here when I was 10 months old, all right? My first language isn't even English, right? So even then, if they said it's the Gangnam virus, I'd make a joke about it, like, are they talking about me? I am the virus. You don't believe me? You watch what your kid, listen to what your kids will be saying later when you take them home after they hear me speak. But my point is, that's how they're tying it into white supremacy. Trump said China virus. Here's the thing, though: the overwhelming majority of the attacks are coming against us from a demographic, and the type of people from that demographic, animals, who are the same people who are for BLM and therefore anti-Trump, anti-conservative, anti-that. You're telling me these people, for some reason, who hate Trump and are for BLM, also are the same type of people that take Trump seriously enough to say, oh, he's right about that, let's go attack the Asians? I'm sorry, does that make any sense to you fucking people, right? So here's the thing. Even if that were the case, even if they were inspired by Trump to attack Asians at a disproportionate rate, which, by the way, it's something that's been going on for decades now. Don't believe me? Ask the roof Korean that was just here. His name is Tony Moon. He'll tell you. Ask any Korean that was alive in Los Angeles during 1992. He'll tell you. So even if it were true that's what they're getting their cues from to attack Asians, that's still not a white supremacy problem. You know what is it? It's a stupid fucking person problem. And let me tell you why. If you hear Trump say it's the China virus, and for some reason you hear that, and in your mind you register it as, oh, open season on Asian people. It doesn't matter if they're Chinese or not. Open season on Asian. That's not a Trump or white supremacy problem. That's a dumb motherfucker problem. Okay? That is your fucking problem. It is not a white supremacy problem. All right? And by the way, isn't it funny? A gentleman here just addressed critical race theory. Let me capitalize on that right quick. Isn't it funny that, so critical race theory states that Asians are white adjacent, right? Because of our success levels. So just the other day, they were categorizing us the same as white people, but now they're saying, now that they need us to be victims to try and get our votes. Now all of a sudden, stop Asian hate, bitch. You hated us going into college so much that you decided to exclude us. Fuck you and your family. So, do you guys want me to keep going, or? I mean, no offense to everybody else, but this is the most excited I've seen this crowd since the other old people came here. I'm younger by you guys that by far, right? I just turned 33. Still got that testosterone left. I don't, you know, the rest of you, I don't know. So, yeah, so only now are they saying stop Asian hate. I'm sorry, that's just, but again, we're a lot smarter than that. We have the internet. We saw how quiet you were for everybody else. So with critical race theory, here's why it's so dangerous. And check the logic in this, okay? Critical race theory states that Asians are white adjacent. Critical race theory also states that you can't really be racist against white people. So if Asians are white adjacent and you can't be racist against them, does it make sense why there's an increase in attacks against Asians from the same demographic that loves critical race theory the most? Are you guys seeing the logic in this? Okay, and here's a convergence of multiple problems. The critical race theory states that, here's what BLM has to say about it. BLM is an openly Marxist organization. Marxism is based on the concept of there is an oppressor class and an oppressed class, right? That's the only way it works in Marxism. Now, in Marxism, they're saying, according to BLM's version of Marxism, the oppressor class in this are white people, and the oppressed class are blacks and only blacks, okay? If Asians are also considered white adjacent, aren't we now part of the oppressor class as well, right? That's the only way BLM works. That's the way Marxism works. So they're not mad at white people. Really, BLM as a Marxist organization is mad at successful people. Do you see why they would go after Asians while being Marxist and also adhering to critical race theory? Fuck them. Fuck them. Goddamn right. Woman in the colorful shirt. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, and there are going to be some liberals out there who are writing, Asian liberals at that, pathetic, who are riding the fence saying, oh, but the Democrats still care about people of color. That's not true. Maybe so. Too bad they consider Asians white adjacent, right? Well, white adjacent until I get shot by a white guy, in which case now I'm a poor minority who needs their help. You got to ask yourself this, as far as the concept of minorities needing help goes, isn't it funny that the one major voting racial demographic that's never been touched by the Democrats, they didn't bother pandering to us because we make too little of the voting bloc, right? So isn't it funny how the one group they left alone to fend for ourselves is also the one group doing better than everybody else in terms of average income rate, average education rate, average nuclear family rate, average crime rate, or lack thereof? Isn't it funny how we're the one group that the one group Democrats have left alone are the ones that are outperforming everybody else, even white people, by the way, statistically speaking? Isn't it funny? You know why? Because they didn't have the time or the bandwidth to create a system of dependency on them. We just do better. And that's why it took them so long to try to figure out how to hijack our votes. But now they're trying. Now they're trying. Are we going to let them? And you know what? Let me just say this. I heard too many Asian leaders here continuing to speak about how nice we need to be, love, unity, all that bullshit. Look, we tried. Okay, we tried. Asians have tried that for far too long, which is part of the reason why they think it's okay to steamroll us. Here's the reality of the situation. Somewhere along the line, Asians, particularly Asian men, have been hijacked, especially the younger generation Asian men, we've been hijacked by that K-pop feminine bullshit. What we need to do is go back to our roots, okay? And by roots, I mean Tony Moon, Roof Koreans. Where you at? What? There he is. So the 1992 Roof Koreans, right, they've become legendary. They set a precedent. There's a reason why when the George Floyd riots were at its peak not too long ago, every part of LA got touched, even Chinatown and Little Tokyo, other Asian enclaves, but they made a wide path around Koreatown for a reason, because they all know what will happen. Center mass, you fucking animals. Now here's the thing. We need to get back to that tradition. We need to get back to what it was before our youth got hijacked by college leftist college administrators, professors. We need to go back to a time where it was family first, and then because it was family first, we also, by extension, and the Roof Koreans can attest to this, it was also country, because this country gave us the opportunity to take care of our families in a way we never thought we could, and they want to come up to us and take that from us. Here's the thing. You got to stop trying to be nice. Asians, culturally, we have a bad habit of trying to play by the rules. We have a bad habit of we're too quiet. For the Asian Americans out there, you don't have to. The reason why it's called Asian American is because it gives you an opportunity to take the best of both worlds and try to make something more, be better, be stronger. Taking the American aspects of being loud, vocal, taking initiative, action, the cowboy route, that doesn't make you less Asian. It just doesn't. But somewhere along the line, we lost that concept. And the problem with Asians is we like to stay in line the most. I'm sorry, that just doesn't work. How has that worked out for us so far? Being steamrolled by these fucking animals out there and their supporters.
Kelly, go ahead. You're fine.
When push comes to shove, don't try to beg, don't try to plead. Get on the rooftops, aim for center mass. Right? And here's the thing. With respect to the police officers, if you're a blue state or city cop and you're ordered to stand down, like they did with Los Angeles during the 1992 riots, if you're ordered to stand down, you will have, a lot of these BLM, dumb savages that are out there, like, they love to say, oh, police brutality, police brutality. Okay, let me break it down to you like this. You think the police are brutal? Do you have any idea what a pissed off Korean is capable of on a rooftop? You fucking savages. You dumb fucking animals. Every last one of you. So yeah, stop going the nice route. Get on the rooftops, shoot if necessary. Cause fuck them. Does that sound hateful? I don't give a fuck, right? So by the way, speaking of police brutality, it's funny when black liberals are always like, oh, the police are after us, police are after us. Isn't it funny how you also conveniently forget to mention what the Asian crime rates are? Why do you think the police don't go after us? Do you think it's somehow connected to the fact that Asians statistically also, even without adjusting for population, we just don't commit crime? You want to hear a fun fact? The black community is 13%, and when you include men and women, they're 13% of the U.S. population. Statistically, they're responsible for more than 50% of the violent crime. Here's the thing, when conservatives tout that statistic, that's us being generous. You have to cut that by half, because when you factor in testosterone, and the fact that testosterone accounts for aggression, when you factor in testosterone and the fact that men are overwhelmingly the violent criminals in almost all the cases, you have to cut that by half to get rid of the women. So if you're really left with about 5-6%, okay, cut that. You gotta shave that down even more, because you got to get rid of the elderly and the children because they're not physically capable, right? So you're really left with about 4, maybe 3% of the population committing about 50% of violent crime. No wonder why the police go after you more than everybody else. It's not a color problem. It's a dumb fucking person problem. And out of those criminals, and those criminals, the crimes of assault, violent assault, we know where they're targeting now. We know, don't we? It's us, and it's been us for quite some time. And if you don't think that'll start spreading to the Latino community as well, you're fucking wrong. Just recently, a Latino woman got beat up because she happened to look Asian. I've seen a lot of Latinos and Latinas, that pass for Asian. She got beat up because of that. In Texas, during the height of the George Floyd riots, they try to practice extortion on a Cuban restaurant owner, saying you're part of gentrification. But the thing is, just until yesterday, gentrification just meant the white people moving into inner cities to set up businesses. But all of a sudden now it includes Cuban people too, right? There is no way to satisfy them because, like I said before, BLM is Marxist. It's not a color problem. It's an anybody more successful than us problem. And the reason why they never want to address that, the reason why Democrats never want to address Asians at all. When's the last time you heard a Democrat, until recently, when's the last time you heard a Democrat address Asian issues? It's always been Black and Latino, right? The reason why they never want to talk about Asians is this simple. If you address Asians, you're going to have to address why we're doing so well. If you address why we're doing so well, you're going to have to address that it's cultural. If you address that it's cultural, you're going to have to see why other cultures or people from other cultures are not doing so well. If you do that, you have to figure out what's wrong with that culture that's keeping them from doing so well. If you do that and you look into the Black community, you're going to see that culturally, Blacks have always voted Democrat and asked for them for help. And then the world will see that the one group that didn't ask for help from the Democrats and depended on them like children were the one group doing better than everybody else. Does that make any fucking sense to you people? All right, I've cussed enough. Your children are scarred. And my point is this. If there's one thing I want to leave you with, for the Asian Americans out there, especially the young ones who are around my age, and I'm really young. I mean, look around. Learn to speak up, whether that's just on social media or not. That's how I got my start. Look, when I first started this journey just about, 9 months ago, I didn't think I'd be in things like this. I just didn't. And kind of overnight, which is unheard of. If you're not showing your ass and titties on Instagram, you don't just grow this quickly overnight. But overnight, I'm at 15,300 followers, which might not seem like a big number, but again, I did it without showing ass and titties. That's a big thing for Instagram, for those of you who don't know. Now, the reason why I did what I did was because I'm Korean. I'm Asian just like the rest of you. I had the bad habit of sitting, waiting around for someone else to do something like this first, and nobody was doing it. So I finally did it, and now I'm where I'm at. And I started something called the Exit Movement. If you guys don't know what that is, Candace Owens started the Blexit movement for Black people to stop voting Democrat. Blexit became a thing too. So if you guys follow me on my Instagram, it's The Korean Conservative, exactly how it's spelled. I founded the Exit Movement, which is Blexit is the Black exit from the Democratic Party. Lexit is the Latino exit. It's based off of Brexit, which is Britain moving away from communist Europe. So Exit is the Asian exit from the Democratic Party, right? So if you go to my Instagram, you can find the link to the Exit Movement. Share your conservative or libertarian, because that's enough to be called a Nazi these days. Share your conservative journey as an Asian American on that page. Right now, that's the only page where people can congregate to do that. We've made friends there. We've made colleagues there. It's going to be great. But that's just a platform for you to start speaking up. Later on, you're able to do this like I'm doing now. If you gain enough momentum, but it's got to start somewhere. Start speaking up. If you can't be a roof Korean in person like Tony Moon, be a roof Korean at heart. We lost that along the way. It doesn't have to be like that. All right, guys?
Thank you, Daniel. Wow. People said, "Are you sure you're going to invite this guy?" And I'm really glad I did. Please give him another hand of applause. We'll wrap it up, people, I promise. Thank you for your endurance. Sorry. So let me start off by saying that all hate should be condemned. Hate attacks on any American city or citizen should be condemned. If someone says stop Asian hate, I have a different view on that, and I don't mind it, because if someone on the left or anybody wants to hijack that hashtag, they can. It just brings more awareness to our cause and to crimes against the elderly and the women. But those who say that it's not happening, there are 4,000 documented attacks on Asian Americans in the past year. Corona has pissed off people looking for a scapegoat, and we are it. That's why we're here. Asians, we've always faced racism. We've overcome it, but now the hate is coming at us, and it's coming at us hard. And we need to be vocal, because enough is enough. I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to say, Asians are not victims. We're not looking for handouts. We're not looking for sympathy. We're not looking for pity. We don't want the virtue signaling, but a certain portion of our people need support in certain states and in certain cities. We all know where it's happening. We don't need people to tell us who it's happening by and who's causing it. I want to address another thing here, and a lot of rallies, people don't talk about this enough, is that America is the greatest country in the world, period. It's the greatest country for anyone. It's the greatest country for minorities, especially. We're a collective of nations from around the world. Where can you find that? Name a nation out there that has as many representation as we do in America. In Irvine alone, we have 70 different languages spoken. Where can you find that? Despite the flaws that we have, we're the most tolerant country in the world. 50 million people in America were not even born here. It pains me to see the division and hatred in this country that we have for each other. This is not America. It pains me to see the propaganda that the media has done to us and torn us apart. This is not America. Such a divide between us that we can't even unite to combat hate. That's not the America I wanted. I'm pretty sure that's not the America you wanted either. We got media propaganda all day, every day, especially during these lockdowns. Locked us inside, feeding us, like Method Man said, feeding us, and feeding us. That we don't know what to believe in. We don't know which side to pick. Some of us aren't even able to speak because we're afraid of getting canceled. Propaganda is a powerful tool for controlling us and turning us against each other. We saw it in Nazi Germany. We saw it in China. We saw it in Vietnam. We saw it in Cuba, Venezuela, countless other countries that went to turmoil and despair. And it's happening here. The virus we see in this country is media propaganda. How many times does a close friend of yours or a family member totally shut you out because of your beliefs, your political beliefs? It shouldn't be like that. That's not America. America is about having an individual opinion and being able to express it without fear. I've heard people say that Asians out there are being used by the media, that we're becoming race baiters, that we're fanning and fueling racism. My own friends on the right somehow have said that I've been a sympathizer attending rallies. And listen, I'm a self-made man. I don't need anybody to tell me who I am, what I believe in. I fly the flag in front of my house every single day, not just on the 4th of July. I proudly fly the flag because it's what it represents to me, which is hope and opportunity. I do that. My neighbors all do that, all races. And for someone to question my patriotism because I stood up for my race is un-American. And it's a part of media manipulation. When was the last time you heard Asians being race baiters?
Never.
When was the last time we were asked for owed equity and handouts from discrimination? Mark?
Never.
Can you remember? When was the last time Asians complained about racism on a grand scale? Never. Enough is enough, though, because we're standing up now. It's the media manipulation that says Asians are crybaby snowflakes, because we're not. We're talking about actual crimes committed out there. The left, I've attended these rallies, and they've walked up to me, and they're shocked. They said, "What are you doing here? You don't belong here." What do you mean I don't belong here? I'm standing up against racism. But no, you're a conservative. The media has painted conservatives as racist. Do I look like a racist? Do I look like a white supremacist? No. It's not just the bias and racism, it's actual attacks we're talking about here. And you might not believe this, but there's many of them. And there's also a great deal of hatred by us and to other minorities. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. We're not all successful and rich as people think. It took hard work to get where we are at in life. Asians aren't innocent either. It's human nature to celebrate victories, but we must remain humble in our successes. Because if not, it leads to narcissism and animosity. I've seen many success stories that came from nothing, and it's easy to be arrogant. Keep yourselves in check as well. I've heard from many politicians here in the crowd, and I have a message to you. If you do not support this kind of movement in your own way, it's going to be lost. I'm not a politician. Ignoring it is exactly why the outreach and engagement to a younger generation has failed. Ignoring it says to the 50% Asian demographic in Irvine and in the county that you don't care. So start standing up for your people. We need you. We got to unite and stand, because this isn't a race issue. This is an American issue. This is an issue on our people. This is an attack on Americans. So stand up. That's all I got for you guys.
Thank you, James. Beautiful. I want to underscore what he said about humility. I think our goal is, if you're on the right, we have to bring more people into our corner. And you don't do that by being arrogant. You don't do that by being caustic. And I think we all need to appreciate a little more diversity in thought. I don't need you to be completely in line with me on everything for us to be friends. We can talk about the things we have in common and put aside the things we don't have in common, or respectfully debate it. That's a lost art now. And it doesn't mean that you have to compromise who you are. I think a lot of people who know me and follow me on Facebook know that I have very strong beliefs. But I am not nasty about it, okay? Because if you come to me and you say you disagree, I can say, hey, let's talk about it. Let's debate the finer points. The moment you're like vilifying others for even having a hashtag like Stop Asian Hate and saying you're weak and you're falling to the left's narrative, which I can't believe, I've dedicated years of my life to conservative activism. Like, how dare you say that to me? That was ridiculous, what the mail that we got for having this event. So I thank you everyone for having an open mind, coming to this event, and to appreciate the diversity in this group. We had people from the left, people from the right, people from the middle, and I've talked to a lot of people that attended today. It's really beautiful that we come together for this one cause. So I want to end today with my good friend, Pastor Harley, Hansel Harley Ozami. He is a great guy, and he's gonna close us out with a few remarks and a prayer. And I just so appreciate all he does for the community. So thank you.
How's it going, everyone? I'm Hansel Ozami. I'm the pastor of Ecclesia Church in Pomona, so not too far away from Orange County. And I just want to say, everyone who spoke up here kind of said everything I wanted to say, especially Daniel, without all the F-bombs and stuff like that. But, I just want to say the media is a terrorist organization, the mainstream media. And I just, in Ephesians 5:11, it says, take no part in unfruitful works of darkness, but instead expose them. And so if I can do my part in exposing the mainstream media as a divider, they want us all to hate each other so that they can control us with their UBI and all that stuff and government programs. I think if we can remove the veil, remove the scales from people's eyes, then we can do way more than all this nonsense combined. We can come against every Marxist organization that there is if we unite together in the faith. And whether we're fighting against Antifa, BLM, whatever, we can do it. And pray for me. My church, we got booted off Instagram. My personal accounts, I got permabanned. Yeah, I can't even live stream, whatever. It's because I'm a Christian and I actually support the Second Amendment. I support self-defense. The Bible, if you read the laws in Exodus, it actually talks about when it's right to have self-defense. We're talking about people exposing lies, you know what I mean? And if we can unite in faith, I think that's an unstoppable voting block that they can't come against. And that's why I got canceled. And I'm not a big guy. Nobody knows me. Nobody knows my church, and I got canceled. And so that's pretty much what I wanted to say before I wanted to pray. And one more thing is uniting is the number one thing. I see a lot of diversity here. If you come visit my church in Pomona, the left wishes they had that diversity. In fact, it's an underground church now that I can't advertise on the internet. And so I invite you guys to come and worship the Lord with us. And that's the key. The Lord is the only one that can break the chains and the lies that the enemy has. The devil is called the father of lies. So CNN is the baby of the Satan. And you know what I mean? So if we believe that, let's come against the lies with the truth, and let's go forward. Like all the speaker says, let's get loud. Let's go into the public arena. And as Asians, we came here to stop Asian hate. That's easy to stop. If we are confident and we don't take crap from people, and we have the courage to propagate our message, then there will be no Asian hate. And that's what I want to say. If you guys can bow your heads with me and take off your hats or your glasses and put your hand over your heart. Father God, we come together today, not only as Asians, but all other races that support not having hate crimes,
Father God, we humbly bow ourselves to your power, your strength, and your love. We thank you that you made every single person, no matter what color, you made them in the image of God. And you made provision for us that if any person come against that sacred tradition, because murdering someone that's of another race or hurting them, what they're actually doing is coming against the sacredness of the image, the imago Dei of God in them. And so you make provision in the book of Exodus for self-defense. And so we want to follow your word. We want to follow your will. And so we ask your Holy Spirit to be with us as we go. Teach us the right way to live. Teach us to have strategies from heaven to come against these Marxist Satanists. In Jesus' name, whether it be BLM, Antifa, all these other people that actually they admit to having pagan traditions, pagan worship. Father God, we ask you to give us your Holy Spirit power to heal the sick, raise the dead, cast out demons, cleanse the leper, as you taught in Matthew 10. But most of all, let us have the courage of Joshua. No matter how big the enemy is, no matter how big the mainstream media is, no matter how big the institutional left is that controls the judiciary, that controls pretty much everything, including law enforcement at this point, especially here in California. It's a David and Goliath issue, and we are David. Give us the stones to throw into the face of Goliath and bring him down. Get our swords and cut his head off in Jesus' name. Politically, and so we thank you. We thank you that you're going to do that, and we thank you in advance, God, that you are our supporters, and we're going to win this thing no matter what. In Jesus' precious and mighty name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you, guys.
Very quick announcement for Facebook stories. We have an advanced cast at 82 North in South California. In South California, we have the event at 11 to 12 on April 30th on 145 West and Forest Avenue. And yeah, if you would like, you can go there. 145 West Forest Avenue.
Thank you, everyone. We've got lots of food left, so if you have big families, take some a box of dishes or a box of muffins, and there's also water. So please help yourself. I don't want to take anything else. Thank you. And also, there's hand sanitizers there that are actually non-alcoholic, and it's really good. So I'll meet me over there. And I'll give you one. Thank you.
A quick message here too.
Thank you.
Yes. Sorry.
Thank you very much. We already. Oh, I need to take a picture with you. Take a picture of you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I got What's up, man? It's still live? Yeah, it's still live, bro. I didn't stop, man. There's still people watching? Yeah, still checking it out, bro. Came out to support you, bro.
I'm just gonna say he's famous. I know. I grew up around the time that he was up on the roof. He was one of the Koreans. Koreans is up there.
The rooftop Koreans. That's. Hey man, the show go. Hey, he's gonna be on the show, guys. He's gonna be on the show. Yeah. We gotta do the podcast together. He's gonna be. Yeah. So it's on my channel, We Are LA, and it's called the People's Forum. So we have liberals, conservatives, everybody on the channel. I like all different groups to get on there. Absolutely.
Support Tin Horn Flats.
Yeah.
Against the real racists.
Absolutely.
The ones that used to attack us.
Absolutely.
The real ones. Study some history.
Absolutely.
Why was there gang violence? They were created from protection groups because we have to click together to protect against attackers. Those were the Democrats telling us to go back where you came from, pulling guns on us, saying "fuck you, Chino." Guess who that is? The Democrats. Oh, but we're not a Democrat anymore, right? All of a sudden, 2016, we're not a Democrat, but you still push the same, victimization. So, be aware of them. Be aware of your enemy.
Hey, bro, what's your channel, man?
My wife's name is Heidi, VEA.
I'm not gonna.
We got booted from Facebook, so we used to be We Are the New People.
Are you on YouTube, bro?
Yes, that's my wife's name, Heidi.
All right, no. Can you say it for everybody? So.
Oh gosh, Heidi. Last name VEA, Bea. And we're on YouTube. We've been doing this for a long time, but we'd like to hear voices of people who are especially conservative, because we want to conserve a lot of these ideals that made America what it is today. So yeah, we're and that includes yes, stop Asian hate. We all about like NBA guys. Why are you guys exploiting?
No, it's not Asian hate. Not hate at all.
Yes, this is wrong. They're exploiting. Yeah. Well, I used to be a Laker fan. I used to be.
Hey man, I'm still a Laker fan, man. I can't leave my Lakers.
No, exactly. It's very difficult. But this is, you gotta look at Nike. You gotta look at Nike. Nike's
Hold up. Yeah. Let me get that picture.
What? Sorry, one.
Okay.
I got it.
All right. So we're going 3, 2, and 1. There you go.
Thank you. What's your name again?
Clear. I am solid conservative.
We used to be V, the letter R, the news.
Okay.
And we can still be found on like Telegram and stuff like that, but they booted us from Facebook. But thanks a lot for what you're doing, because you're out here covering as well.
Oh,
I
yeah.
got your shirt, bro.
Oh, yeah. It's all good.
I showed everybody, because you're out here, dude.
Yeah, you got to support. Oh, let me get this real quick, man. Let me get this. Hey, guys, after this, I'm going to get out the 10 horn flats, man. So this is everybody from the event today. I'm just taking a picture and live streaming at the same time. Scoot in a little bit. We gotta get closer. Get closer. Still people coming. I don't know whose phone this is. I'm gonna put it back right here. Your phone is right here. Whoever this is. Oh, that's yours? Oh, okay. All right. I'll take the pictures. Yeah, I'll take another one. I don't know this. Oh, okay. Bro, they give him free shit. See, this one I'm gonna throw the race car. They didn't get a black guy, nothing.
Well,
I
did you want some?
No, I didn't even want that, bro.
No, because
bro, I don't even want none of that.
No, look.
Bro,
I heard all this shit.
Bro, I'm fucking with you. I don't even want that.
You don't want any of this?
No, bro, I got water.
But this is so good.
I know. Hey, man, listen. Hey, I just gotta say, come on live right now, man. Man, give me your YouTube or your Instagram or whatever it is.
Hey everyone, my name is the Korean Conservative on Instagram, exactly how it's spelled. And yeah, feel free to follow me. I technically have a Facebook too, but all the same shit I post on Instagram is gonna end up there. So, you know, I do technically have a Twitter, but with the shit I say, I'd probably get kicked off of there in like a minute. Yeah. So there's that. But yeah, can't wait to hear from you guys. Unless you're only there to hate on me, in which case, go fuck yourself.
Hey man, y'all already right here. Hey man, you gotta listen to his words. What he said. He did not say all black people. He said thug. You gotta listen.
Type. There is a type. There is a Candace Owens type. There is a Larry Elder type. And then there's other types.
I heard.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Where's the order? Where's the order?
Oh, it's on my YouTube right now.
Oh, your YouTube.
Yeah, it's like. Oh, where I get it from? Oh, Best Buy.
Oh, Best Buy.
Yes.
Oh, no. Best Buy.
Yeah,
How
Best.
much? How much?
$1.99.
It's cheaper.
Yeah, cheap.
$1.99.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, $1.99.
Okay, I want it.
Yeah, Best Buy. Oh man. Hey man.
I think he's done.
Nice, man. Oh, nice.
Now you said hey now, so what's up?
Man, that's because what black people do, man.
So random hey.
So yeah, when black people see other black people, they just say, "Hey, what's up, man?"
Okay, well, I'm telling people about the food right now. That's what I'm trying to do.
Oh, hold on, bro. Hold on. You telling them about the what? Are you talking about COVID?
No, I'm not telling people about the food.
Oh, okay. You telling about the flu? Yeah. I just don't want the. I can't get no more channel strikes, bro. Yeah, I have to run away from it. That's all. Hey guys, I'm about to end this live though, man. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm on my way to 10 Orange Flats. I think that what time does 10 Orange Flats start?
Supposedly 2.
2 or 3. So I'll be out there, man. I had a great time out here today. Make sure you guys stay tuned in, subscribe to the channel, share it. They had great speakers today. They got food out here. They got water. This was great. They got muffins and stuff. Y'all can see that the Asian community took care of everybody. They got gifts for us and stuff like that. I had a good time. Hope you guys had a good time too.
This was so much better than that lefty one that they did 2 weeks ago.
Bro, I didn't even know about that, man.
We were outside and they were making me wear a mask out here.
Oh hell no! Really?
Man, a mask outside?
Yeah, and I was like, bro, the cops haven't even told me to put on, because technically there's a mask ordinance here in Orange County, but the sheriff already said don't call us for mask ordinances. Exactly. Don't call us for large gatherings. We're just not going to respond.
So I'm on YouTube, so I'm not going to talk about the mask thing, but I'm about to end this thing. But I agree with you. I don't know why you would wear it outside ever or in your car either.
I'm just saying that there's some good sense here still in Orange County.
No, this was great, man. This is fucking great today.
Sure, thank you for documenting this.
Yeah.
Can I follow you anywhere?
Yeah, bro. It's We Are LA. It's on YouTube.
We Are LA. Okay.
Yeah, it's all one word. It's on YouTube. But yeah, this was great. Huh? They don't ban me for no, not talking. No, if I start talking about COVID and stuff, then they
I appreciate that the next event. Do you have anything planned coming up?
Oh yeah, thanks for covering this. Yeah, we're just gonna keep doing more events like this. Our programming for our organization is always a mixed bag of different things, mostly educating the community. So my next event is this coming Wednesday, where we're actually going to dive deep into the COVID farce. A lot of the things that the lies it, and none of this involved any medications, even though he has an autoimmune disease. And he actually
he's one of the risk.
He was in the risk factors. And also,
all right, guys. I'm sorry I had to mute it. They start talking about COVID. This has been a great event. I gotta get this Korean guy to come on the show, man. Hey, appreciate. Hey, guys, come right back in a couple hours. I'll be in Burbank at 10 Orange Flats. Thank you guys so much. But just real quick, say bye to everybody, man.
Goodbye, everybody. We'll catch up in about a few hours at Burbank.
Absolutely, man. Thank you. That's why I came out here to support. Had a good time with him. Had a good time at the whole event. This was great weather. Stop the Asian hate. Kelly, everybody, thank you guys for tuning in. I'll be back. You guys have a good one. Thank you guys for sharing too. All right, later.